In this video, we are going to do questions based on the topic statistics for class ninth. We'll also be doing questions based on graphical representation like bar graph, histogram, frequency, polygon. And we'll also be dealing with questions of range, class interval, class mark, lower limit, upper limit, grouped, ungrouped data, primary and secondary data, right? The representation and the collections. So let's begin with one such question. In the first question, it says observe the table below and choose the correct alternatives in each case. Now you can see that this is column 1. This is marks obtained by the students from 30 to 40. There are 4 number of students, and 40 to 50 there are 8, and so on. Now what is the question for the first part? It says the class mark of this are. Right. So what is class mark? You should recollect what is class mark. So if I see the formula for the class mark, right? Now, class mark is this. So formula for class mark, calculating class mark is lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. Now figure out for this class, right? What is the lower limit over here? Let's check. The lower limit is 50 and upper limit is 60. So that is lower limit plus upper limit, which is 50 plus 60, that divided by 2. So it's 110 divided by 2, that is 55. So we'll say that the class mark is 55 in this case. Now, if I see the next one, it says the width of this class. Now, width of the class also known as class size, right? Width of the class and class size are same thing. So if I see the width of the class, yeah, this is what the formula was. Once again, you should know that width of the class, which is also known as class size, is the difference of the upper class limit and the lower class limit of the class interval. In short, we can say that class width is upper class limit minus lower class limit. So look into this question. We have to find for the t, and you can see this is the class interval. So the class width, as I said here, is the upper limit, right? Class width or class size is upper limit. Upper limit is 80 minus the lower limit, which is 70. So it comes out to be 10 in this case. So the first was 55, right? And the next is 10 over here. Now check for the next question. If I see the next one, let me erase this first. In the third question, it says frequency of Q, right? This is table Q. And what is frequency? By frequency, the definition, if you see, what is the definition of frequency? So frequency is what? Is the number of times a data occurs. So you can see that the number of times the data, which is 8 in this case, right? The number of times here, the number of students here is 8, right? In the interval 40 to 50. So we'll say that the answer for this part is 8. One more time, frequency is what? The number of times a data occur. That's how we get this. Now, next we have one more part, that is the size of the class. As I told you, class size and class width are same over here, right? So one more time, class width or class size. As I said, class width and class size are same. So we can say that the class size of this table P will be 40 minus 50. That is upper limit minus the lower limit, that is 40 minus upper limit is this, and this is the lower limit, so it should come as how much? 10. So we'll say that the answer for this part is 10, right? So this is how we did these 4 parts of this question. Now let's move to the next question. Now you look into this 2 MCQ I've taken that is based on class width or class size. Let's understand the difference over here, how these two are different. First of all, you can see that we are supposed to find out the class width in each case, and we are given the class interval. These are the class interval. So now if I apply the formula for finding class width or class size, it is what? Upper limit minus lower limit divided by 2. So you may select any random class, including the first one, and can find the class width. So you will find the class width or say class size as what? Upper limit. Let's say I took this one. Upper limit is 20 minus lower limit, and that should give you 10. And you will say your answer is correct. But the confusion will arise if I give you this table over here, and if you go for this formula, right? If you go for this formula, that is class width, you may end up doing wrong because it's 40 upper limit minus lower limit is 19. And as you can see, 19 is not an option over here. Now, what is the thing that you have to keep in mind? As you can see here, that this data is not continuous, this, right? So in fact, you have to make it continuous by subtracting zero point 0.5 from here, that is 0.5, and adding 0.5 to this, that is 20.5. Now, same thing over here. If you add subtract 0.5 from here to make it continuous, is going to be 20.5, and add 0.5 to this, it will give you 40.5. And lastly, you can subtract 0.5 from this and add 0.5 to this. Now check, this is continuous. And then you can apply the formula, that is class width is upper limit minus lower limit. So you end up doing right here, because the class width, right, is what? Upper limit. Let's say upper limit is what? 20.5 minus lower limit, which is 0.5, and that gives you 20. So you'll say that your correct answer is this. So this is what the difference between these two questions. When your data is not continuous, we first make it continuous before finding or before applying the formula for the class width. Now this one is a question from the bar graph. As you can see in the given graph, right, alongside we have the number of students who scored. We have to find, right, to find the number of students who scored 60 or more marks. So 60 or more marks should be this one. Now, if I look into this one, for this, you can see that it is 10. So the student who scored between 60 to 70 is how much? 10. As you can see from here, it is 10 students who got. Now for the next, that is from 70 to 80, how many students are there? It's going to be 5 over here. So this is 5 students. Now similarly, we can go for this one. You see that the students who got from 80 to 90 is 3, and 90 to 100 is also 3. So we are going to add these values. 10 plus 5, 15 plus 6 is what? 21. Yeah, so 21 is the correct answer. I can see there is one more question over here. Let's do this one as well. Now, what does it say? I minimize a bit. That's fine. Now check here what we have to get. Yeah. So it's a graph is given alongside, shows the frequency distribution of age of 22 teachers in the class. There are 22 teachers, and the number of teachers whose age is less than 40 years is. So we have to find the number of teachers whose age is less than 40 years. So 40 should not be included. So less than 40, that means we will be calculating these values. Same as the previous part, what we are going to do is to write down the frequency. So I can see this is 2 and this is 4. So let's write down this is 2, this is 4, and for this it is clearly 3, and then we'll have to get till here, which is 6. So we are going to add these values, that is 2 plus 4, 6. 6 plus 3 is 9, and 9 plus 6 is 15. Yeah, it should be 15. So we can say that the number of teachers whose age is less than 40, so obviously 40 will not be included. So therefore it is these sum of these values, which is 6. Yeah, 15 is what we got. In this question, it says M is the midpoint. Midpoint is what? The class mark, right? Midpoint is class mark, and L is the upper class limit of a class interval in a continuous frequency distribution. Then the lower class limit is what? So let's once again figure out what we know. We know M as the class mark. What we know else is the L as the upper class limit. So we know L as the upper class limit. And then what we have to find out is the lower class limit. This is what we have to find out. So it's just that we have to get plug in the value. I'm replacing class mark with m, the upper limit. Well, lower limit we don't know. So let's say I took lower limit as x plus upper limit. As you can see, it is given how much? That's given as L. So we'll be using the symbol L over here, that divided by 2. Now, since we have to get the value of x, as I said, is x is what? The lower limit, right? This is the lower limit is what we have to calculate. So if I do cross multiplication, this is 2 into m, right? Transposing this to the left hand side, which is equal to x plus L, and further transposing L to the left hand side. This means x will come as what? 2m minus L. So 2m minus L, and I can see there is an option 2m minus L. That is B is the correct answer in this case. Now in this question, it says in a frequency distribution, the mid value of a class is 10, right? And the width of the class is 6. What we have to find out is the lower class limit. So let's figure out, let's say if I say that this is the lower limit, this is the place for lower limit, this is upper limit, and you know that in between is the midpoint, that's called the class mark. So let's figure out what we know. We know the midpoint, right? Midpoint as 10. Like say if I take L as the lower limit and U be the upper limit, we know what the midpoint. And the width of the class is given as width of the class is 6. That means the gap between this and this is given as 6. So it's very clear if the gap between this is 6 over here and this is midway between L and U. So we can say that the gap between this and this should be 3, right? So we can say that on subtracting 3 from here, I should get the lower limit, and adding 3 to this will get the upper limit. So adding 3 to 10 is 13. Now what is the question over here? What is they are asking for? The lower limit of the class. So lower limit of the class is this, which is 7. So 7 is the correct answer in this case. So in this question, it says the width of 5 continuous classes, right? So we have 5 classes altogether, and the width is given how much? Width of this class is given as 5, and the lower limit of the lowest class, right, is 10. Then the upper limit of the highest class. So let's figure out one thing which we know is what we will start with 10. So keeping 10 as the lower limit, so it's going to be what? 10 to 15, right? As you can see, the width is how much? Width is 5. So that's why I took 10 to 15. The next is going to be what? 15 to increasing by 5. As you can see that the width is given over here. The width is how much? 5. So if I keep on doing, and how many classes do we have to make in total? 5 classes. So the next is continuous. So next is going to start with 15 and will end with 15 plus 5, that is 25. Next is going to be 25 to 30, and lastly is going to be 30 to 35. So this is what 5 classes is what we have to make. Now, if I look into the final question, it says the upper limit of the highest class. So the highest class is this one, and its upper limit is what? Lower limit is 30, and upper limit is going to be 35. So 35 is the answer for this part. Now, in this question, it says the class mark of a frequency distribution are this. These are the class mark, right? These are the class mark. What is class mark? As you know, is the mid value, right? The mid value is 15, 20, 25, and so on, right? And we don't know the upper and the lower limit, right? You have to keep in mind that this is the lower and this upper limit of the first class, this being the lower and the upper limit of the second, and so on, is like this. Now check what we have to find out is the class, that means class corresponding to 20. That means we have to get this, that is the class is what? Once you get upper and lower limit, you can tell the class. Now, what we know here that first of all, I'll get the size of the class. Size is class width. So from here, I can figure out that the class size is 20 minus 10, that is 20 minus 15, right? So I can say class width over here, or the class size will come as 20 minus 15. This is 20 minus 15, that is 5. All right. So you can figure out that we know the size, right? And that means size is what? The gap between the upper and lower limit. And we have to get this part only. So let's erase the remaining. So what we know here, that we know this as the mid value, and there is a gap between this and this as how much? 5. So therefore gap between this and this will be half of 5, that is 2.5, and this between this is 2.5. Now check, if I subtract 2.5 from here, I'll get the lower limit. Here the lower limit I'll place as how much? 20 minus 2.5 is what? 17.5. And likewise, if I add 2.5 to this, I'll get 20, 22.5, right? Adding 2.5. So now you will say that here this is what, if I erase everything, I'll say this is what the class interval, that is 17.5 to 22.5. And I can see there is an option that is 17.5. Although we have a formula for finding out, but this is better way to handle questions of MCQ, that is 17.5 to 22.5. B is the correct option. The next question is says the class intervals are given like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on, 20 to 30 to 40, and so on. So they're saying there is a number 20 that should be included in which of these classes. So what you should know, that 20 should be included from 20 to 30, and not from 10 to 20. Let's understand one more time. If I say a value, say 30, then 30 will not be included here. 30 should be included as counted 30 to 40. I take a value 10 over here, so 10 should not be included between 0 to 10. It should be included from 10 to 20, right? So this is what you have to keep in mind, that 20 will be included between 20 to 30 and not between 10 to 20. So correct answer is B in this case. So in this question is a group frequency distribution table with equal class size, and one of the class size is given as 63 to 72. And what do we have to find out is below, right? The number of classes to accommodate this data. We have to find out the number of classes. So let's first find out the lowest value. I can see lowest is 14 over here, 14 only. Yeah, lowest is 14 and the highest is 108. No, even bigger value, 112 is also there. Yeah, 112. So what you should do here, let's say I write any value over here, maybe below, so that I'll write down this interval that is given, class interval 63 to 72, right? This is what we have got. Now check here. We have to keep in mind that we have to include 14 as well as 112. So, and there is a gap of 69, right? I can see that the class size here is 72 minus 63. Is it 9? It is 9. So we'll keep on increasing this value, let's say, by 9, and check till where we have to go to accommodate all this data. So next is going to be what? 72 to adding, yeah, adding 9 to it is 81, right? Then adding again 9, it should give you 90. We'll keep on going till we accommodate 112. So that is 90 to 99, right? And then 99 to 108. Still one more to go till as we have to accommodate 112 also. So it's going to be 108 plus 9 is how much? And 117. Right, this we got. And same way we have to go below also. As you can see that we have to subtract 9 from 63. That's how much? 54 to 63. Okay, so this is 54. I mean to write 54. Then subtracting 9 is what? 45 to 54. Subtracting 9 to this should give you how much? Subtracting 9 is what? 36 to 45. And then it's going to be 27 to 36. 36. And then what more? We have to write one more. That is, I think It's going to be 18 to 27. And then since is 14 is what we have to accommodate, I have to go one more. And that should give you what? If I write one more table preceding to this, erasing this is going to be 9 to 18, right? So now we have to count the number of classes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12 is an option. So this is correct. And this is the way we can do this question.